This podcast was brought to you by the good people at Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial right now at audibletrial.com/nothingbutstatic. Hello and welcome to Stephen University. This week we watched Are You My Dad? And Chris, Are You My Dad?
I am not your dad.
Oh.
This Thursday.
I'm not looking forward for you. I'm not looking for your dad. I'm looking for my dad.
My dad is out. My dad was actually funny. My dad was incredible last night. We were at this. We made a short film with our friend James, and we were at a film festival for it. And the guy went, this next film is written and directed by Chris Billington. And my dad just went, ham! Dad just heckled the man with a meat. And I do, after a lifetime of Billington, it is weird because it's not like it's Billington or Billing. You know what I mean? Like, ton and ham are quite separate. They're not spelt the same. But I thought it was weird to heckle someone that was organising the event.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, the guy was, showing a film you wrote at a film festival. Or part of a film festival,
exactly.
Showing a film you wrote, I should say.
Yeah, so it was, it was bizarre. And then he just went, and then my mum shushed him, and he went, well, can't he read?
Your dad is the most dad. Like, he is.
Yeah. He really is.
He is like, he's like the dad from any British sitcom.
But he did. And I'm not telling this like dads came out. I'm not. It sounds like I'm telling the story just to tell it. But we did win. And when
Congrats.
we won
I
the
didn't even know
Audience Award.
this.
Thank you very much. So it only happened last night. And
Chris,
then...
I expect minute-to-minute updates about your life. This is not acceptable.
Sorry, Daniel. And then when we were announced, my dad just went yes, like it was so weird because they're not like whenever I've done anything, like I do a play, I'm like, what do you think? And my mum and dad are just like, yeah, it was all right. Like, so for them to show some emotion, I was quite touched.
That's good. So that film, if memory serves, is available on Vimeo.
Yeah, it's called Go With Him. It's on Vimeo. We'll put a link in the description. Something like that.
Or I'll forget, and then everyone will say, Dan, you forgot, and then I'll add it.
Yeah, it's. I think it's mainly been watched on Facebook, but it's obviously, I don't know if you... Actually, no, the Facebook link should work, even if people... Well, if you don't, we'll put both. If you got Facebook, watch it on Facebook. If you got Vimeo, watch it on Vimeo.
It's called Go With Him. And there's also... It's the other one that's still out there, the first short you did with James.
Yeah, you can find that through the same Vimeo page. I did, yeah.
So Chris has written two shorts and they've been made through James, who's a friend of ours, friend of the show. Really, he filmed our 100th episode of Nothing But Static.
Yep, he was on. Oh no, he's going to be on an episode of Nothing But Static. He's not on there. He's not on yet, but he will be on.
Yeah. We've been trying to arrange that for years and failing miserably. So.
My mum did, speaking of my mum did this is more like my mum and dad get in, mum and dad are all pleased and they kind of have a look at the trophy or whatever, and then my mum just goes, still prefer I did though.
It's fair.
I did a better script. But yeah.
It's funny because I think I did the better script, but I think it's Go With Him, isn't it?
Yeah, go with him. Go with him.
Better film.
James's cinematography is much stronger on Go With Him.
Well, he's obviously learning a lot each movie. So each short.
Exactly.
So he's getting better and better, which is insane. Because when he shot
all
our
of
web
that
series,
sounds...
I forgot to say he shot 100th episode. He also shot our web series.
Yeah. Which is on the YouTube page. This sounds like a shameless plug. I apologise. It was just
no. I just thought,
but I couldn't.
No, I just
couldn't say one without saying another.
Yeah, but like legitimately, we don't get enough chance to plug your other stuff here. So
yeah,
I think we're 100 odd episodes in at this point. Well, 120 episodes in, 130 episodes in. I think we can sneak a little plug for your shit in. Like it's fine.
Thank you.
So yeah, no. So yeah, do and this is coming from someone who's not involved in either of those projects at all. Heartily recommend both.
Thank you very much.
But both I Did and Go With Him are really, really brilliant little short films. Very, very British in their sensibility. So for our American listeners, like the sort of like that very awkward sort of British comedy. It's very well written though, and they're very well made. And they both got quite interesting premises, considering because short films struggle sometimes to find a premise that's interesting, but also containable in a 10-minute or 4-minute, 5-minute piece, whatever the length is. You know, short films usually just anything under 15. They're both really well pitched in the premise Chris came up with for both is very easily explored in a satisfying way in a short amount of time. And I think people underestimate the importance of being able to do that with a short film. Because I think that's step one. If you can do that bit right, then your short film will be fine. Like I wrote a short film about time travel, and the concept is too big for the short format, so it suffers because you don't get enough time to explore the characters. You don't get enough time to explore everything. Whereas the ideas Chris has generally come up with when he writes his shorts are so sort of simple but interesting still. So, simple without being boring is basically the way.
Yeah, don't worry. I don't view simple as an insult.
Yeah, they're like really sort of. It's like a nice streamlined like concept that really leads to a good little chance to just spend 10-15 minutes, whatever the length is. Sort of exploring the idea unhindered by time, and you don't feel rushed. And as a result, I think they're both very good. So yeah, and then obviously, I mean, particularly with Go With Him, like Jesus, the visuals on Go With Him are really like the leap James has made, and that's not to say I Did looked bad at all by any stretch. It didn't. It was really well made, but Go With Him is beautifully shot. Somehow you found the one sunny day of the year in Britain as well to shoot it.
James is it was such a pain in the ass. I'm never going to do anything outside ever again. It's such a pain in the ass to film outside in Britain. But yeah, no, it was James is on fire in it.
Yeah,
can I just pause? Can you just fill for just a minute, Daniel?
I mean, I just did. You could have gone while I was sucking your dick, but
I didn't want to interrupt you. It was very sweet.
You wanted to hear the compliments. That's
no. God, I sound like a prick. I'll be back in 1 sec.
Okay, I don't know where he's going. I've got a fill now. I mean, yeah. There's if you're interested in checking out the web series, by the way, any listeners that we did, that's on this channel. It's called Writing Space, and we wrote it together, me and Chris, and we write what you know, they say. So we wrote a thing about 2 failing writers, which is not at all autobiographical, just is, just exists. Chris is laughing in my ear, which means he's either come back or he's like off doing whatever he's doing, but can still hear me. I think he can still hear me. So maybe I should just start insulting him. God, that Chris, right, guys? He is the worst. He's terrible. Like he keeps.
Daniel, can you hear me talking?
I can still hear you talking, Chris. Can the audience hear you?
Okay. Not just yet. Basically, but before we came on, I went, "Can you hear that beeping?" Like the audience can hear me now, and Dan said no, and then I heard the beeping again, which makes me think it's my headphones. So I've switched headphones. I'm going to put the other ones on charge. I'll be back again in 1 sec. Real professional, guys.
Do it. What's funny about that, coincidentally, and Chris won't be able to hear this, is I also had a beeping problem this morning that's now solved, but I woke up to beeping because a couple of weeks ago I told my girlfriend, I was like, the smoke alarm shouldn't have a flashing red light on it. She's like, no, that's just standard. That's just like, it's on. It's got power. I'm like, I don't think it is. I think that means the battery's going. She's like, yeah, when the battery goes, they beep. I'm like, I think this is stage 1 of batteries going, to which stage 2 is beeping, to which stage 3 is incessant. And she didn't believe me. And then I woke up this morning to beep, beep, beep. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I pulled the battery out, and I wanted to replace it, but it is unlike any battery I own. It is the most ridiculous battery I've ever seen.
In what sense is it unlike any battery you own?
It's just an unusual shape and size. I've never seen, and the connector on it is kind of odd. I've seen the connector on it before, but I've never seen a battery quite that shape. So it's just a bit like, right. Where the fuck do I find a replacement for this battery? Can the listeners hear you, by the way, when you just said that?
Yeah, I think, but they can hear me now. But I've just heard more fucking beeping, so I just heard a beep, 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 beep.
Mate,
so what was that? What's going on, Dan?
I don't know, Chris. Maybe your smoke alarm's going.
What the fuck?
If we titled these episodes, this one would be called Dads and Beeping.
You know what it might be? I had an alarm set. Maybe it was that. Oh, fucking hell.
We're 10 minutes
My
in.
alarm.
We've not even described the episode, Chris.
I know, but and I don't even know because now I'm in different headsets, so I don't know if you can hear the chair or the bit. It's all going wrong. But if my phone is beeping because I have my alarms, I set alarms on my phone when I'm making dinner. So if all this trouble has been caused because my phone is trying to tell me to start the veg, I'm going to be really pissed off.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. That'd be a reasonable thing to be mad about.
Right. Okay. Phone's there. Right. Hopefully. Right. Hopefully we're back.
I tell you what.
Good.
I tell you what. You know how sometimes they do like internet or podcast like award ceremonies for content that goes out online.
Yeah.
I think the first 10 minutes of this podcast is what I'll submit for us.
I think it's reflective of what we usually put out.
I don't. I think what we normally put out is at least mildly more focused than this gibberish.
I think we're in a scenario where we had it was such a nice opening. There was a nice funny dad story. I got to share some good news, and then it went to shit. So, the episode.
Yeah, the beeping threw us off, didn't it?
Yeah, the beeping threw us off. And thinking about it, I will watch. I'll tell you what I do. I've put the other headphones on charge. I will watch the next episode through those. And if there's no beeping, we will assume the beeping was my phone. But that's weird, isn't it? Like, if I'm using my phone, I'm up. Like, I don't need to be told to start the veg. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
Anyway.
Have you started
this
the veg,
episode,
though?
Huh?
Well, now I'm invested in the veg. What's happening with the veg? Is it done?
I started the veg a week ago. You know what? Actually, I upset my mum and dad and Jess are out, and they went, "Can you do dinner?" And I went, "Yeah." And they went, "It's beef," and I said, "No." And I went, "I don't know what I'm doing with beef." And Mum was like, "Beef is less complicated than chicken. You just have to put it in the oven." But I got pretty worried about it, Dan.
I'm sure you'll figure it out. You're a big boy.
That's the thing. Right. So, are you my dad?
12 minutes in.
12 minutes in, I'm so sorry. We will go to at least 40 on this one, just for you guys. So they're looking at the time, they're like, yeah, guys, you've been like 52 an hour. Like, anyway, I'll tell you what, Dan. Here's the thing. We tangented at the beginning. No more tangents for the rest of this episode, yeah?
Is that
all gold?
Okay. All gold. Mm.
All gold. I promise you that.
I'm going to put it out there right now that because I don't want to be a liar or a hypocrite, a liar. I'm gonna say that is not the case. No tangents, because I just.
You're gonna say we did not stick to that.
I'm gonna go ahead and not make that promise because I know what we're like. So I will say we will try to focus ourselves for the remainder of this episode, but no promises.
I'm gonna say it. No more tangents. You got half an hour of good stuff coming up, and I apologise again because the tangenting was, in every example, my fault. So, are you my dad? So Stephen is waiting for a package from what was it? Refined Boys or something?
I can't remember now, but yeah, it's very funny. I'll see if I can look it up in a second.
It's awesome. So Stephen's waiting for a package, and Jamie's not turned up, and it's weird. And where's Jamie? He's been gone for a few days now. There's an air of tension in Beach City. The Gems are making sandcastles. The Gems have not picked up on that. It's all right. It's not like one of them has foresight. I'm joking.
The distinguished boy khakis.
Distinguished boys. That's it.
Amazing.
So the Gems continue, quite frankly, lulling about while danger lurks. And Stephen
to be fair, the only people who've picked up on the danger so far
is us. I know
the viewers. I mean, yeah.
I know. I jest. So they go. Stephen goes to look for. No, he just goes for a donut. Bumps into Sour Cream. Sour Cream explains that Onion is lost. There's more good humour. It turns out all of Onion's secret places are known to his family, including his secret room, which is just referred to as his office, which is beautiful.
One of my favourite gags in the whole episode.
So Stephen realises Onion's missing. He goes to the donut shop. Sadie's mum is continuing to be a little bit overbearing. She's nicked a key and has kind of gone into the donut shop, but Sadie's not there. She's fine with Sadie being out all night, which I guess positions Sadie at, 18 maybe?
Yeah,
17, 18?
Sadie and Lars are both older than you'd think, I think.
Yeah, I know, but Stephen, doesn't that mean like Sadie at 18 is just chilling out with Stephen, who's like 11, isn't he, at this point?
No, he's
13,
14 or 15 now, isn't he?
Oh, okay, fine.
I think he's 14.
Plus, it's a small town, so that's fine.
And everyone seems to just love and accept Stephen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's half alien. I mean, that's probably a bigger question for people.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm hanging out with. There's two kids I could hang out with tonight. One's 14, which I know is a bit younger than me. The other one's an alien. Which you cool with? Which you cool with?
Which he hasn't got a problem with. So then there's another really good joke where Sadie's mum references Island Adventure, which I really liked.
Oh yeah, she's gonna go off on another island adventure with her boyfriend.
Probably off on another island adventure. So that was good. So it turns out they realise now everyone's missing. So Stephen goes to the gems, goes to Connie.
I think everyone is an exaggeration.
Yeah, everyone does a really bad drawing of it. And then they go off, and Stephen and Connie stumble across the smaller half of what we've been seeing. And she's going, "Are you my dad?" And Connie says no. They try and help her, and in doing that, it gets revealed that Connie is Connie. It turns out they're after Connie as well. So she calls it sounded like tofu, but it's not Topaz. Let's just admit now I'm never going to say that right, and I'm going to call them tapas.
Topaz cannot be that hard to say. Toe like a toe, paz like paz. P-A-Z.
Tapas like the Spanish food.
No, opposite of what? No, it's different to what I said.
So tapas appears.
Fuck.
And Topaz appears, and Topaz has got all of them captured. And this was really cool. I thought, unfuses, it would appear, or turns herself into two. Grabs Connie and then refuses to keep everyone trapped. So it certainly looked to me like they were trapped by the fusion, which I thought was a cool notion. So yeah,
it's quite horrifically drawn.
Yeah. It's quite monstrous. So I think what's monstrous about it is the way that they separate and they're still captured, and then they for the people that have been captured for a while, whoever was the first to be captured, presumably Jamie or Onion.
No, Jamie would have been the last captured, because remember Barb said she'd seen him that morning on his way off to Stephen.
So sorry, Onion. So every time they've unfused, Onion has moved from the position he was captured in, shoved into a new position. So he knows that they're going to fuse, but he doesn't know how he's going to end up, whether he's going to end up stuck inside or, it's a lot more effective than the Absorbaloff in Doctor Who, but just as horrific a premise. So they...
I forgot about the Absorbaloff.
Yeah, it's horrible. They captured... No tangents. They captured...
I made no promises.
They capture Connie, and Stephen bursts out of a tree, gets his sword, but they get away anyway, and they bugger off.
Well, I mean, Aquamarine sort of they don't just get away. Aquamarine puts the smackdown on Stephen.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was a great episode. I thought they built the tension well. I thought it is a nice payoff from what we've been seeing, which is good. That's what you want after them building up to it for so long. I thought there was a sprinkling of humour throughout. I think the stakes have well and truly been set. I was like, how are they breathing in that fusion? But then I was like, oh, you can see most of their noses. And then when it refused, there was just some legs sticking out, and I was like, oh, maybe not.
Well,
but that's a small nitpick.
I wonder if that's something to do with. I'm speculating here because I don't. I had the same question and don't have the answer. My speculation is that because gems they don't have mass the same way that humans do. That their bodies are made of light. Air might get through.
Oh, that's a good shout.
I'm speculating because I honestly don't have the answer. I wish I did, but that's my assumption. Because that's the only thing. It's fansplaining for sure. But that's the thing that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, no, I like that explanation. That's good.
And I think you correctly
Comment.
picked up on. Oh no, go yeah. Comment below. Like,
Comment below on your thoughts on
is
that.
there a better explanation? Maybe. Probably there is. You picked up correctly that Topaz is, visually speaking, what Topaz is doing matches a fusion. We also know from previous episodes that when two gems that are the same fuse, they just become a bigger version of the existing gem, like visually speaking. So like when all those rubies fused in the answer, they became a giant ruby. In fact, when all the rubies fused in the one where they go, the one just before Bubbled, you know, where they have a fight on the moon base, don't they? With all the rubies. Back to the moon, thank you. Yes. Back to the moon, all the rubies fuse together and become a giant version of ruby. So like it stands to reason that two topazes fused together would make a single topaz that does not look different, but
it's a really clever idea. I really like that notion. And I love, like, 4 seasons in, fusion's been a thing since season 1, and they're doing something new with it now.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool. I thought it felt really exciting to see a new gem. And to just be like, I thought that was really cool. I like the fact that it's not 100% clear what the hell's going on in terms of theorizing. I can only assume that my dad is Greg because everyone is connected to Stephen. But I don't know. It's quite. At first, I was like, oh, maybe not, because it was quite a disparate group of people that have gone missing. It's not like it's the gems or. So it's Stephen's friends, but it's not. I suppose it is his closest friends, arguably, but I don't know where. I want. So I'm expecting something clever for where this list has come from, because it's clearly they have a list.
Yeah, because I found another one. Because you're right, because obviously I watched this all as one, so I didn't have to ever sit and speculate because I got the information I needed 10 minutes later, you know, because I watched the next episode. So I said the information I needed. I got more information, you know, 10 minutes later, which sort of... I mean, it wouldn't be a massive spoiler. I'm sure you're assuming the same thing. There's one episode left of this bomb. Some of these questions you have are getting answered in this next episode. I don't think it's a spoiler to suggest that.
Which will be awesome, because I'm hoping for a really clever answer based on this show's history. Because at first I was like, maybe there's no connection, and then I was like, no, there has to be. And especially when like
they do a really
you see the visual and you're like, this is Stephen's closest friends.
Well, that's the thing is, it's interesting because I had no need to speculate the first time, as I said, because I was just like, oh, hopefully the next episode will have the answers, you know. So I just carried on, but. You're right, and the way they do this is so clever, and I appreciate it more now watching it, one by one, than I think I did as a bomb in a weird way, because, like, they very cleverly establish that she's definitely getting the names from somewhere, because she goes, "Oh, you're Connie," and she's like, "I found another one. I found one," and it's like, oh, hearing the name Connie was the trigger, so she's working off something. Do you know what I mean?
Doesn't she say you're a Connie?
She might have done. Yeah, she might have done.
Because I just remember thinking that was very Peridot.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think, even it also, there seems to be some confusion with this my dad thing. Because there's a point so there's a bit that I think Chris mildly sort of skimmed over in the recap, but the bit that I really sort of like is that section of this episode when Stephen and Connie are speculating about Aquamarine's, existence and intentions, and they were like, well, she was looking for her dad, but what she had actually said to Stephen is, "Are you my dad?"
Yeah.
But Stephen had sort of not misinterpreted, but he'd sort of not been paying attention to the exact phrasing. Go on.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but I mean, if it's Greg, that phrasing would suggest that it is, the list comes somehow from Stephen. So, but I don't know how. They've been listening to him in his sleep. I don't know. And I'm sure there's a really great explanation, and I look forward to seeing it. But that's my sort of theory. Yeah. The list is somehow
because they make really drive that home in this episode. And I only realised that watching it the second time, because there's this great exchange between Connie and Aquamarine when she says, when Connie says, well, we can help you find your dad. She's like, I'm not after your dad, I'm after my dad. And it's like, it's
Yeah, that's when you go, oh, that's the phrasing. It's not
100%. And
that's the phrasing of it.
And they lay it all out really clearly, I think, and really cleverly, like in a way that like gives you. If they had aired these not as a bomb, this would have been a really tantalizing tease for the next episode. And in a weird way, while I've always praised this bomb because I love this bomb because I love how subtle it is, it almost doesn't feel like a bomb. In a weird way, now watching it one by one, I'm almost kind of sad they made it a bomb.
Well, that was going to be my question, right? Because especially Jamie, you really could have subtly. My question was going to be: do you kind of partly wish this wasn't a bomb and was something embedded over a lot of episodes? Because especially Jamie, you could have. You could have Stephen in the middle of another adventure say, like, him and Connie are talking about books, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I did order a book, but it's not come yet." Jamie's been slacking, like, and almost make a joke of it. You could have Onion go on some adventure, and then have Sour Cream reference the fact that Onion's not about, or like Onion's been in his secret room. Like, I think you could have slowly embedded this idea that people were missing, and then had that moment where Stephen's like, well, hold on, like they're looking for one person, and then someone says, oh, it's not like there's loads of people missing, and then Stephen's like, well, actually, hold on a second, Onion's missing, and Jamie's missing, like, and you just, I think you could have done that, and I think that would have been exciting to do, and I have, now that we're getting a payoff for it, I have really enjoyed this bomb. But yeah, part of me is wondering. Part of me wants to see that other version as well.
I'm not so sure about the other version. Only on the basis of I think you would notice it way before the characters, and then it could, depending on how it's written, become an exercise in frustration. Why haven't you guys figured out people are missing yet? It's clear, like.
But that's why I think but I think Jamie and Onion give you the ability. If it's Lars and Sadie, yes. But because Onion's so odd, and you could easily have Sour Cream be like, Onion's always disappearing. And you could easily really subtly embed Jamie being missing as well. I think because you have those two characters, it's an option. I'm not saying it would have been the right way to do it at all. I'm saying I'm intrigued.
No, it's that
alternative universe.
Yeah, like a longer term payoff arc where like they did it over, instead of doing it over 5 episodes, they did it over 10 or 15 or something.
How in No Tangents here, and I hate to bring it up again for the second time this episode, but Doctor Who's Missing Planets arc, where actually planets, it had been subtly referenced that planets were missing for a while, and then all kind of tied together when
I think they did this. They did the same thing with Bad Wolf, I think, in the first season. Russell T Davies was really good with that, actually.
Yeah, Russell T. But I think the planet thing was even subtler, because that was just that was Bad Wolf. You just had to look out for the words Bad Wolf. The planets thing, you had scenario like the full circle, the Observer Loft episode. He referenced, no, because that's a different thing. But there was at some point, like, oh, my planet went missing. Like, it was said, the cleverness of it that they could have done here is you could have said it in the context of the episode, but actually it has another meaning. Like, the onion thing could have been said as a joke for the scene, and if you watch the scene, you just view it as a joke, and only then in this context do you go, oh shit, Onion's missing. We know Onion's missing because Sour Cream has said.
See, I agree with you, but I do think Bad Wolf was actually subtler than the planet thing, because Bad Wolf, that like it's just it's two so disparate words that like I didn't even notice it until the Doctor noticed it when he pointed out, and I went, oh yeah, that has come up a lot.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, either way, but your point is valid, which is that like. There is a version of this that could have been done where it was like over a longer period of time and so subtle that maybe fans didn't pick up on it until Stephen did, and it could have been potentially good that way. I do like the way it's played out. I think it is a really good bomb. But I do almost think now that maybe the better option is somewhere in between, where you don't change the episodes at all, but you just don't air them as a bomb.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you start this episode and it's not a bomb, you go, oh, it's going to be like a Jamie episode or a Fun Silly episode. And then you're surprised when it takes this turn into new gem and horror and like missing people and like that would have been a surprising turn, but you were expecting it because you know it's a bomb and you know these are the final two episodes. Do you know what I mean? If there'd been hints at people going missing in the previous episodes, but it wasn't a bomb, you'd have started this and gone, oh, we're gonna have to wait a week till we get more on that because this is going to be like a Jamie episode. In the first few minutes, you might have been, you would have been, it's conceivable somebody could have maybe gone, oh, this will just be a side episode then, and then been pleasantly surprised at the turn it takes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
and that's what's really clever like about it, I suppose. But it's a shame because that's lost on a bomb, and in a weird way, then I almost wish it wasn't a bomb. Only now though am I really appreciating that about it, and I loved this bomb when I first saw it. I thought it was a really, really good bomb. I thought, what a cool idea to do a bomb that was so absurdly serialized, and then follow it up with a bomb that felt really independent each episode, but have a little through line, like to play with both formats that the bomb form can take, and do both of them really well. Like this is almost the perfect version of doing a bomb with a subtle undertone, and the other one was almost a perfect version of doing a bomb with a very overt serialized story. You know, Greg goes missing. You've got 5 episodes. No, sorry, not Greg. Greg is kidnapped. You've got 5 episodes. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's explore, resolving that.
I think that first option is still my favourite way to do a bomb if I had to choose between the two of them.
Yeah, probably.
Because the end of every episode of that bomb was exciting. Every episode had me like, whereas it's taken to episode 4 for me to be like, with this.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But that's not. I'd love this very much. So
it's very good.
I'm really enjoying it.
Me too.
And, yeah, definitely. Well,
I was going to say the other thing I want to ask you about is what did you like? Did you like the turn in Aquamarine's character? So we first meet her. For those who don't remember, I'm sure you guys do though. When you first meet Aquamarine, she seems very sweet, like a lost child, and then she just takes this. Once she realizes she has Connie in front of her, she just takes this really like arrogant, like evil, like turn where she's just like all of a sudden she just seems like this really menacing force, and like even that one line of can't even believe they sent an Aquamarine on this mission, which is clever for 2 reasons. One, it confirms her name in this episode, which is good because I think you don't want to leave people hanging on what the gem's name is. You want to just clear that straight away. Like, you don't want people going, what's it called? Because that's not an exciting mystery to set up, because next, within an episode or 2 you'd find out what kind of gem it was. Do you know what I mean? Like there's nothing there's nothing to gain from withholding that information. So that line is good for 2 reasons. One, it establishes that Aquamarine is called Aquamarine, but also it establishes that Aquamarine clearly thinks very highly of herself, or is, by gem standards, a very high class gem.
I think she thinks highly of herself.
Well, yeah, I mean that's certainly an option. It says an interesting amount about the character as well, which I thought was really good. So I'm a big fan of like that moment, that turn, because I think that really sets up a potential villain, or at least an antagonist for a period of time. How did that land with you? Like, did you pick up on that, or was it a bit more? Did that sort of, is that only become more of a thing because I've sort of pointed at it now?
No, I didn't necessarily notice the turn, but I certainly noticed how she was being at the end, just so arrogant, and the way she was animated to sort of just lull on top of Topaz and just kind of be really vindictive and stuff. I just thought it was really clever, but I was partly kind of going, new gems, like, so you
do get a bit bamboozled every time they introduce new gems. I'm the same. Whenever there's a new gem, I'm just like, oh, what's this about? Like, every time. It's amazing how that doesn't get old. Actually, that's a question. Is that simply because they don't do it often? Or is it because the world they've created, each gem is so different that seeing a new one is just interesting because you're just like, what's different about this one?
I think it's both, and I get why fans probably have done it, but I think the other thing is, like, if you'd have said to me before this podcast, before this show, how many gemstones are there, I wouldn't have been like, oh, hundreds. But I think so. I think it's stupid. But a little bit of me is always like, there's more gems.
Right.
They found like another gem to do something on. Like, well, of course they have. There's loads of gems. But
yes, there's like literally hundreds, like thousands, even maybe potentially. I don't actually know, but they could theoretically never. I don't think they would ever run out within the lifetime of the show. I think when this show ends, there'll still be loads of really quite common and like popular gemstones that have yet to have a character realized on screen.
Yes.
I think I think they'll always have more to do. Then again, they have hit most of the very, very big ones at this point. Diamonds, pearls,
I can't think. But as established,
opals,
I didn't really. I didn't really know much about gems. So
well, the fact that down now to like aquamarine and topaz, like which I actually not recently, like last year when we were in Iceland, we went to there was a museum, and one of the bits of it had like various geological finds, and I think there was topaz there, and I remember just thinking like, well, that's what topaz looks like, and it was. I don't know if it was just the cut, but it was quite squared off and orangey. So I guess it's I guess they do design them based on what they know or think that the real gem looks like. Because do you remember you looked up bismuth, didn't you? I vaguely remember you saying you looked up the bismuth gem, and it is multicolored and sort of angled in.
Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, they've done the design work on this show is always fantastic.
Did you? One thing that occurred to me with aquamarine is I was drawing parallels in my head to lapis, water wings, and the blue sort of tones and color. I'm guessing from that reaction you did not draw the same parallel, because that was going to be my question.
No, not particularly. But Connie was in danger, Dan. I was way too way too preoccupied.
When did you know that Connie was in trouble? The second she went, "You're Connie," I was like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, Connie's," and I must admit, like, as I was trying to kind of think through and like, well, the obvious connection between these people are they're Stephen's friends, and then I was like, well, but she's not gone after Connie. So then when Connie first appeared, I'm like, oh, we might be getting some Connie stuff. And then, so when she was like, "You're Connie," I was like, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
It was, and like I said in my intro, that not only all this suspenseful stuff and all this drama surrounding them getting attacked and taken away and stuff, but also just the brilliant comedy. It was so comedic, and there were so many funny moments in this. And yeah, I hope that's setting us up for some truly dark shit next week.
Some dark shit. Dark shit. Is there anything we missed out from the beginning of the episode? Oh yeah. Well, you already hit on it, but I loved Garnet and Pearl making a sandcastle. I thought that was just well, fuck it. Like, we're making a house for these crabs. They like it. Like, so weird.
What the gems do on vacation.
Yeah, but Amethyst just eating beans. So strange.
Do you think we're gonna get, or did you think? Well, I suppose you knew right away. But Lapis and Pearl, Lapis and Peridot. Do you think they're gonna be there next episode?
I remember hoping for it. I remember thinking, if you've got this situation where, because look, put yourself in Stephen's shoes. So all these people who are important to you have been taken. You need help. You've just had your ass handed to you in a second by Aquamarine. She just literally like sort of put a weird like white bubble thing on him, spun him around and threw him at a tree. Like, she knocked him out like very easily and very quickly without really breaking a sweat. What do? You get everyone on board, right? You've got to have all your friends.
Get the gang together.
You do. You go in grabbing Pearl and Garnet and Amethyst for sure, and then you're probably gonna also draft in Lapis and Peridot. You might have trouble convincing Lapis to get involved, because she's obviously, Homeworld is a big source of Homeworld, and conflict with Homeworld has been a bit of an issue with her. So you might imagine maybe she would want to sit it out, but maybe for Stephen she'd come in. Maybe she's a bit more of a question mark, but certainly Peridot, she would, she sees herself as one of the crystal gems now, and
plus she's got powers,
Yeah, metal powers. She seems to be. She's a lot. So it's the last time they fought another gem was Jasper, and at that point she'd only really just discovered her metal powers. So if you remember rightly, she just sort of made it wiggle, and like she in the end, funnily enough, she did help defeat Jasper. but she wasn't exactly empowered, was she? She wasn't running around like Magneto with like metal flinging around her head and stuff. But since then, we've seen her do a lot of cool stuff with her powers. So you would hope that that the metal powers would be a factor if she was drafted in, and that could potentially be a really cool fight. So yeah, there's a lot of option there. I was certainly hoping, in answer to your question, for Steven to do, because otherwise you're just going, why not? Like, if we've seen how quickly he can get to the barn from from the temple, there is no reason not to draft them in. None at all.
No.
He did it in seconds last time. Do you remember when he was like in that video thing? Like, so clearly they're not far away. That's my sort of thing about it. I think it would make the most sense to me.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Is there any triv? We got some triv.
Triv. Before we get to triv, actually, can I just mention as well, just to tag up your point you made earlier? Yeah, Barb, kind of creepy. She replicates all of Sadie's keys.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Why would you do that?
Didn't feel out of character though, did it?
Nope. Not at all. Oh, also, I want just a little detail I picked up. I say picked up on it. I'm sure everyone noticed, but the Onion poster for being missing was actually a wanted poster where they'd crossed out "wanted" and written "missing" over it.
Yeah, which is awesome. I thought that was very funny and very subtle.
And if you pause it, it's like wanted, like for stealing, and the picture is him at the arcade, having broken off the machine that gives out the tickets, and he's just running away with the tickets. It's really funny. So yeah, let's have a look if there's any triv. Yeah, we talked about I suppose so. In the episode, it confirms that two gems can fuse, forming around an object. This is previously shown in We Need to Talk, when Rainbow Quartz has a microphone move inside her while taking form. And when Ruby and Sapphire fused in Hit the Diamond with their baseball gear on, this may also explain. This may also explain why Smoky Quartz doesn't have Steven's sandals.
Okay.
However, in the case of Ruby and Sapphire and Hit the Diamond, it's more likely their baseball gear was shapeshifted on, thus part of their form rather than separate objects. Hence why Garnet didn't have the alleged gear in her form after refusing. Well, there you go.
I think you could go down a massive well overanalyzing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you could. Apparently, there's the Aquamarine constantly asking, "Are you my dad?" Could be a Doctor Who reference, referencing the empty child.
Are you my mummy?
Are you my mummy? Yeah.
There you go. Appropriate Doctor Who referencing throughout this episode, then.
It's almost like we knew and organised this, and
yeah.
You know, this obviously these podcasts clearly, as everyone knows at this point, are completely scripted, and we organised that very well, I thought.
Yeah, I think the beginning of this podcast shows it's not scripted.
Yeah, because if it had, it'd have been a lot better than that. The image on the Dream Ghost movie box resembles the iconic poetry scene from the 1990s film Ghost, which I did also notice, but I very much enjoyed. I also thought as well. Steven singing "Hey Mr. Postman," the song that he sang in Cheeseburger Backpack all those episodes ago, 100+ episodes ago.
Yeah, now that I didn't notice it at the time, but now you've said that, it's a nice callback.
Yeah, because that's the song he sang when Jamie showed up in that very early episode, and he sings it again here repeatedly in a hope that Jamie would appear. I quite like that little montage of Steven like waiting for his package. I've had that agony of like waiting for a package I'm desperate to receive.
I just thought the whole distinguished khakis thing was just amazing.
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. 100%. Bob mentions...
because we're never going to see him wear them. It'll always be in jeans.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, the part of that joke is simply that you'll never actually witness them as a viewer. And then it's that bit where he realises that they're not coming, and he's like, "Don't I deserve to be distinguished?"
Yes.
So good. Barb obviously still bringing Sadie's lunch to work, which is obviously referenced in line 3 straight to video. Was a big part of that episode, or at least referenced in that episode, and then it came up properly in a later one. See, one of the trivia things that they've got here, it's listed under continuity rather than trivia, but I don't know if this counts, right? Barb is shown to be less prying in Sadie's life after forming an understanding in Sadie's song. I disagree. She's got copies of all the keys and she showed up in her work. In what way is she less praying?
But she was quite relaxed about the island adventure, and she specifically states she's an adult, she can do what she wants. I think she's had the keys for a long time and is just gone, she's not here, I'll make use of the fact that I've got these keys.
Yeah, that's fair. And also, the other thing, which is, I suppose, also a big factor here, is she was like fine with the fact Sadie didn't come home the night before.
Yeah, exactly. I think she was doing that sort of thing. She was a very mum reaction of like, oh no, I'm fine with it, but I've got the key, so I might as well look. But she wasn't overtly being overbearing. She was just kind of caring and knowing the... I think maybe it's more that she knows the importance of not appearing overbearing and being chill.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whether she is chill or not.
I don't understand this one. Okay, this is the last one. Chris, can you explain why this is written down? In the forest, Stephen says, it felt like yesterday since he was there with Onion and his friends, referring to the events of Onion Gang.
I think it's just to say this is a nod to Onion Gang.
Okay. Yeah, it's also listed under continuity. I suppose that kind of counts.
Because do they reference, is there triv as well about, like, when referencing the island adventure, it refers to island adventure?
I skipped over that one because...
Yeah, but I think it's the same thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. Well, I thought that was pretty standard, but it's cool that they've made use of some of these locations multiple times as well. I really like that about the show, that like they won't just waste a location. Like they've been to the moon, but a couple times now.
It's a whole world has been built without a doubt.
Yeah, and there are like locations we know of and would like, and that's why that's one of the reasons I thought Save the Light, the game, was really cool when I did my playthrough of that, is because there were loads of locations that I'm like, oh, this is from this episode. So they do the Great North, and it's like, oh, this is where like this episode takes place, and they do like where the pyramid is from Serious Steven, and like there's a bunch of like. And the Strawberry Battlefield is in the game, and it's like, oh, the Strawberry Battlefield is where they visited this area a lot of times. You can visit the barn in the game as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It's cool.
It's a good game.
There we go.
There you go.
That's our episode. No, less tangents, and I think we did a good job there.
Yeah, it was so tempting because you'd promised not to just tangent every 2 minutes, but I just thought...
Yeah, it was bad, and I do apologise for the fuss with my headphones. I tried to interrupt as little as possible, but I didn't succeed. So
it would have been... You know what, Chris? To be honest here, some of that's on me because I did not do a very good job of filling. I was like...
Well, that's partly because you'd just been talking for ages, and then I was like, right, Dan, Phil.
Yeah. I was out. I was all talked out. That's never.
It would have been bad if you were giving that really nice speech about me, and then I fucked off during that, and then you just left it, and it was like I'd paused to to let it sink in for me. Do you know what I mean? Chris isn't responding because he really wants you to take on board what Dan has just said.
He's that arrogant.
yeah, he's an arse. So I thought it was best to wait, alert you to the fact that I was going.
Yeah.
And there we go. But hey, good job, spare headphones. Good job, man.
Yeah, that was convenient. I've got a spare pair that I keep on my desk for the exact same eventuality. Yeah, I always with absurd levels of paranoia. Every time I know we're recording a podcast, I put my headphones on charge the night before without question. Which is
what I did. They were on charge. They had a whole night's worth of charge when it stayed around yours and we did the static, and I put them on charge this morning. That makes me think the beeping was my alarm.
I love that you didn't know that though.
I don't know.
I love that you couldn't find the source. Amazing. Anyway, right, that's everything for this episode. We'll be back, of course, to tackle the final episode of this bomb tomorrow. Very excited about it. Any expectations for the final episode, Chris? Anything you're looking to see?
I just want to see it. I just want to see them go after Topaz and Marine Aquam, whatever she's called.
Aquamarine.
Aquamarine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've realised that whole episode I've been saying it quite fast, which might make it hard to pick out the two individual words. I mean, they're actually one word in the gem, but it's aqua, as in like water, like liquid, and then marine, like a marina.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm not bothering with theories. I'm just excited to watch.
Awesome. Let's do that then.
Cool.
So, thanks very much for listening, guys. We will see you tomorrow for more of this joy, and maybe an explanation as to the mystery of the beeping.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch. We're watching the next episode now and then recording, so I'm gonna watch it with headphones. And if there's no beeping, assume the headphones are fine.
Yeah, we're recording these last two in the same session. Obviously, the middle. This is the weirdest bomb in terms of how we've recorded it. We did 2 on the first day, then we waited like 2 weeks, then we did 1 in a room together,
Yeah.
and now we're doing these
here we
2 like a few days later separate. Very strange. Anyway, that has been everything for this episode. I've been Dan Doolan.
I've been Chris
And
Billingham.
we'll speak to you guys tomorrow when we discuss I Am My Mum.